Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to Sunday Night Satsang
Hi.
with John and
Michelle, hi.
Michelle. Hi.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome to all those joining. And as usual, please let us know where you are from. We love knowing where you're from, and also we love getting the hearts and the likes and the shares.
We do indeed.
All of those. So welcome to Sunday Night Satsang. Which is our absolute pleasure to host.
We've had a beautiful day here.
Yeah, a bit windy now.
Wind's howling right now.
Howling, yeah, it is. And tonight's a very special, well, the day is a special day, and tonight's a special satsang because it's the equinox. And the equinox varies between the 20th, 21st, 22nd, but this year it's the 20th. And today is Sunday the 20th. So today is the day when day equals night. The length of daylight equals the length of the night, the dark. So dark and light are in balance today. And this opens up a portal, a particular portal, a spiritual portal, where we're able to connect in ways that we're not normally able to. So the yin and the yang are in absolute balance today.
It's also the day that the sun moves into Aries, which depicts the first day of the year for us, in astrology anyway. So the first day of the year is not really the 1st of January. According to the energies of the cycles, it's actually it's today. It's the day, and it always lines up with that equinox.
So can we say Happy New Year then?
We can.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
But it's also a very good time for setting new intentions for the new solar year, the new cycle that we're going through now. Yeah, Michelle will explain some of the astrology that's special about this time that we're going through today particularly, and the few days that we're going to be moving through. And I don't know if you want to share anything about America at all.
Maybe. We'll see if it comes up.
Okay,
Yeah.
We'll see, Interesting what's happening in America's chart at the moment, really. Thank you for all the hearts. It's really nice.
It's beautiful.
Hello,
Thanks,
Wendy,
everyone.
and hello, Paula. Hi, Tanya.
Please let us know if we can hear us okay. If one of you can just type in the comments that if our sound's okay.
Yeah, is our sound okay? Can you hear us and can you see us? Or I take it you can see us. But thank you for the hearts. It's really, really beautiful. Yeah, and we really enjoy these sessions with you. It it revitalizes our batteries for the week ahead, recharges our batteries, but it also sets the intention for the week ahead. So when we start the new week with this vibration of centeredness, of sacredness, I believe it really does transform our lives. So we thank you for giving up your Sunday evening to be with us. Thank you.
Thanks for telling us
Margie,
the sound's okay.
Sound,
Thank you so much, everyone.
Hello, sure.
Great.
Hello, great.
Okay, super.
Okay, good.
All right.
So welcome. And let's start this evening by bringing our mind away from our stories, away from all of the times and all of the places, and just being aware of the sacredness of life, which is the isness of life, which is this present moment here and now. The mind doesn't necessarily value very much the present moment, so it's always chasing after ideas and stories, chasing after time, regurgitating yesterday and focusing on the tomorrows, the future. But in fact, the only time we are actually alive and connected with the divine is in the present moment. God, if you want to use that term, the grand organizing design, is only omnipresent. When I say only, because presence is the only place that there is actuality. So this is the most sacred place, and let's just spend a few moments together tonight withdrawing our awareness from the scatterings of the mind and becoming present, becoming centered, becoming aware of life as it appears in this moment. So let's maybe just gently close our eyes and just become aware of your body from the inside. With our eyes open, we see the body in its form state. But when we close our eyes, we see the body from its energetic state. It comes to us in feeling. Our senses give us vibrations of sensation. So let's just close our eyes and become aware of the body from a feeling state. We become aware of what it feels like to be seated on the chair or the bed or wherever you're sitting right now. What does it feel like in your body? Just become aware of those sensations coming into your awareness. Become aware of where your hands are resting right now. Feel your hands from the inside. You might find a certain tingling sensation, a warmth in your hands. Become aware of your arms from the inside. Become aware of your shoulders. Are you carrying any tension there? Is there any pent-up energies there that needs to be shrugged off in this moment? Let's drop our awareness right the way down our body to feel our legs from the inside, our knees, our calves, shins and ankles, and feet from the inside. Let's fully inhabit our legs and our feet, becoming aware of the toes and the connection of your feet with the energies of Mother Earth. With our intention, let us draw this energy from Mother Earth, this powerful, powerful creator energy, up from our feet, up through our legs into our pelvic region, relaxing our genitals, releasing any stress in the pelvic region. Bring up awareness through our torso, relaxing each organ in turn, feeling the spine from the inside and releasing any tension or stuck energy from the spine. Relaxing the area between your shoulder blades, where we tend to store trapped energy. Bring our awareness up our neck. Once again, just letting any tension slip away. Becoming aware of the crown of our head, our scalp, relaxing our scalp. Smoothing any worry lines from our forehead and dropping our awareness down to our cheeks. You might like to put a slight smile on your face. It relaxes the muscles far more than the tension that we normally carry around with us. Relax your tongue. You might like to rest your tongue on your palate of your mouth, just behind your top teeth, your top front teeth. See that your tongue is heavy in the mouth. Your jaw is relaxed. Your eyelids are relaxed and heavy also. Bring your awareness to the tip of your nose, becoming aware of the gentle flow of the breath in and out of the body, the breath of life. And just sit like this for a moment, being completely aware of your body from the inside. This body is a sacred temple. I know humans build buildings out of stone and brick and glass and steel and call them temples. But the temple that the divine made is the temple of our bodies, made of flesh and blood. This is the most sacred temple in all of creation. And let's honor this temple for a moment with our full awareness. Becoming aware of all the sounds that we can hear in this moment. And as we become aware of everything our ears can hear, we go a little bit deeper and we become aware of the awareness that is aware of the sounds. That is presence. It's presence that listens. It's presence that's truly aware of all of the sensations coming in from the body. The more present you are, the more aware you are, the more aligned with life you are, and the more connected you are to your God self, to your sacred self. And the word we give for that is the word being. We spend an awful lot of time connected with the human. And yes, it's important for this experience to have the human experience. But we are human beings. And we so often forget the being part, which is our true essence. It's called the Holy Spirit. It's that true eternal essence of who you really are. Beyond time, beyond experience. And as we align to this essence of being, we're able to drop all the anxieties, the fears, the guilt, the resentments, the grief, the shame, and just rest in the true essence of who and what we are. Just to be. Just to be here now. And let's just bring our focus to the human heart. And the human heart is a symbol. It's a symbol of life. It's a symbol of love. And it's a symbol of being. And from this human heart, there is a field emanating, radiating, an electromagnetic field. And this is the field which is able to influence situations and circumstances around us. Let us open that field. Let us open that field to connect with all of those on this satsang tonight. Let's open our hearts and connect with this broader family in the ethers, in the cyberspace. It's in the field of intention, which lies in the field of presence. From this sacred place in our hearts, we greet our soul family. And as we do that, so this field emanating from our heart intensifies. And so we radiate it out to connect with all of humanity, with no judgment, no partisan perception of separation, no sense of the other. This field has no other. This is the field of love, and love is a sense of oneness in our perception. So with our hearts open, we perceive a beautiful field of connectivity. We feel ourselves as an intimate part of the whole. And we give thanks for this awareness that has led us here tonight. We give thanks to the unseen energies in our life. You might call them guardian angels, guides, which are part of this field of love, which hold us in the field of love, never interfering, but in the quiet space of presence, they're able to guide us. And they're guiding humanity at this time. Yes, there may be many trials and tribulations which the human species is going through, but the earth itself is being held in a circle of light. And we say thank you for this. And now we take a very deep breath into our bodies, which helps us once more anchor our awareness into this sacred temple of ours as we breathe in the breath of life, and we take a long breath out, very long breath out. We take a second very deep breath in now, and a long breath out. And as we breathe out, when we get to the end of the breath, we pause for a moment. We pause to the count of 4 with no breath in our body. And then we take another breath in, deep into the body. And then a very surrendering breath out with another pause at the end. Quiet pause of stillness. And now we hand our breath once more to the intelligence called life. We allow life to breathe us, to beat our heart, to digest our food. And in this moment we also allow life to guide us individually and collectively through our transformation, through our shift in awareness as we step into the 5th dimension, the dimension that lies outside of time, outside of mind, but is connected through our hearts to the eternal present moment. And we just spend a few moments once more in that stillness, in our hearts, just saying a quiet prayer, the only prayer that the divine ever needs. It's just a thank you. A thank you opens our heart and there's a recognition of the perfection of life, even though our perception doesn't always see it. Thank you. And when you're ready, you may softly, gently open your eyes and just see how you feel in this moment. How does the world around you look in this moment? A little bit softer, a little bit more gentle. Maybe some of the hard edges have removed themselves in this moment. Thank you.
That was lovely. John, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us on this special day.
Yeah.
It is a special day.
Very special day, yeah.
So the equinox, if you joined us a little bit late, it's the equinox today, which is in South Africa, it's the autumn equinox, and if you're in the northern hemisphere, it's the spring equinox. But either way, it depicts the start of our new year, energetically, or if you like, astrologically, because that's what happens at this time of the year when the sun moves into Aries, which is the first sign of the zodiac. It goes all the way around to Pisces, and then every year it starts the cycle again. So what we do in astrology is we draw up a chart for the time that the sun comes back to the place it was at 0 degrees of Aries. We draw up a chart for that, and then that gives us an idea of the theme for that year. So it's very similar to if you have your chart done, you have the solar return, which is where the sun comes back to its place it was when you were born, and that forms the theme for the year for a specific person. This is basically like a theme chart. It's a light theme. There's also obviously other stuff that happens all year, but it gives us a little bit of a weather report, if you like. Yeah.
I always love going into Aries. You know why?
Because you're Aries.
Because I'm Aries.
Right. John's birthday's in
That's my son's birthday tomorrow.
Time. Yeah.
My eldest son, and my birthday in a few days' time as well. Aries. All the best people are Aries. Don't you agree?
No, that's how we know you're Aries.
Yeah.
That's what Aries say.
That's what Aries think. Fire sign.
So just to sort of enter into this evening, our theme is quite varied, and I think it's because of the energies right now are quite varied, and this chart for the equinox and for the year is quite varied as well. So we've got the sun in Aries, which is very much about new intentions. It's setting intentions for the year, like you would do at the beginning of the year in January the 1st. This is kind of the energy of that. Aries is the first fire. It's that little sprout that springs up from under the ground. It's that first life. That's what Aries actually depicts. So Aries is always, what's the new intention? Let's get this going. Let's get something new going. So there's a feeling of the new when we start the Aries cycle. However, There's also the other side of Aries, which can be quite warlike and quite assertive and quite high in energy, high fire. But this year is a little bit different. So it's quite a lot of astrology, but I'm going to try and explain a little bit of it to you. You've got the sun in Aries at 0 degrees. Right next to the sun, you've got the planet Neptune. Right next to Neptune, you've got the planet Jupiter. Right next to Jupiter, you've got the planet Mercury. So you've got one planet, call the sun a planet, in Aries, so that's the fire energy, but then 3 in water, in Neptune, in Pisces. All of those 3 are in Pisces. And this is leading up to this conjunction that we have on the 12th of April, which is Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces together, which only happens once every 165 years. So what that does is, the way I feel it energetically, is you've got the sun. In normal terms, when you see the sun, it's bright, it shines, you can see it, it lights everything up. When Neptune's next to it, it's almost like you're looking through the sun from underneath the sea. You know, if you're underneath the water and you look up at the sun, it's kind of diffused. The sun isn't, you can actually look at it. The sun isn't so bright that you can't look after it. Yeah, it's diffused energy. So the energy for the year, it's almost diffused light. And what it does is it actually brings possibly the assertiveness, possibly the fire of Aries down a bit, because there's so much in Pisces. And we working towards, or moving towards, or swimming towards, if you like, this conjunction between Jupiter and Neptune, which is very connected. Neptune is all about the sea, it's the ocean, it's how we all connected. It's the divine, if you want to call it the divine. It's the great organizing design. It's where we're all connected in the heart, which is what we always do and what we always connect to on our satsangs. So that connection in April is quite, I'm going to just call it a sacred connection. It could be a very big opening spiritually for many of us. It could be what you call a quickening spiritually. It just means that your spiritual connection could expand. Jupiter is the planet of expansion, and it's next to Neptune, which is spirituality. So you could say expansive spirituality, expanded. You might get more downloads. You might be more intuitive, more sensitive. So and I think that's happening to a lot of people. They're feeling more. They're more sensitive. They're getting downloads where they don't even really know where they came from. It's there. There's a knowingness. So there's a lot of other stuff happening as well in this particular chart, but that's a huge theme, because when we set intentions with a normal Aries point where the sun moves into Aries, it's about me, it's about my dreams, it's about my intentions, it's about me, I. That's what Aries is about. It's about me.
What?
But with it being sort of softened, I'm going to call it softened by Neptune, it puts the fire out a little bit, and it says, yeah, but you're not on your own. We're actually in community here. How are we standing? How are we moving together? How are we all connected? We're all in the ocean together. Then there's other stuff happening, which I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about it, but we also have 3 planets in Aquarius, which is about community, it's about vision, it's about moving towards a new vision together as community. I think we're in for some slightly hairy times this year. I mean, we're seeing it already, so I'm not telling you anything you don't know. We've got some quite volatile energy, which is Mars and Uranus, which the two together are kind of earthquakey, explosive energy. So that's around. That's what this energy is. It's kind of abrasive. It's quite tough. And then you've also got the planet of change, which is Uranus, in a connection, a square, which is a difficult connection to Venus, which is money, food. So changes to our money system. And we've been saying this for years, but it's coming to that right now. Changes to our money system, changes to our food system, changes to our food supplies. So this, for me, is, yeah, it's really saying, well, how can we stand together in community and work differently? Not work in isolation. It's not just about me in my own little bubble. It's about me and how I'm working with you and how I'm dancing with you. How can I give you? How can you reciprocate? So it's very telling. And then the moon in this chart, which is right at the end of Libra, which is, the sign of balance, peace, harmony. And the moon in a chart like this actually represents the people. So it feels to me like many people are wanting peace, they're wanting balance, they're wanting harmony. But there's a lot of pull from authority, governments, which is not allowing that. So where do we find that peace? Where do we find the balance? Where do we find the harmony? And then we look to Jupiter, Neptune, Mercury in Pisces, which is, how do we keep the balance? We keep the balance by going within, not without. So that for me, there's a lot more, but I don't know if you've got any questions about that.
Just about Aquarius. We're supposed to be going to the age of Aquarius. And if I go back to the 1960s, the 1960s was such an opening in consciousness. And there was a war then. There was the Vietnam War, which was also an orchestrated war based on false information in the media at the time. But for the first time in recorded human history, there was a pushback from the people against the war. Up until that time, the king or the government said, let's go to war, and everyone says, yes, let's go to war. It's a good thing to do. It's the manly thing to do. And men all went off bravely to fight for the king and country. But what happened in the 1960s was that people pushed back against that. And we had for the first time, massive protest against war. Then we seem to forget about that in the 70s, 80s, 90s. Are we revisiting that energy now, you think? Because now, that was the sort of start of the age of Aquarius to a certain degree. But are we not more centered in that energy now? So do you think there's going to be a lot more pushback against the war?
I do think so. I think it was already starting before the war happened.
Yeah.
So if you looked at all the convoys and the freedom rallies, and I mean, they were massive.
Yeah.
They weren't necessarily publicized on the normal news streams, but they were huge. Yeah. So the people were actually standing and saying, no, we want freedom, whatever that means. We want liberation. And that's a very big theme this year. It still continues this year. The age of Aquarius is always iffy because the ages are 2,400 years old, long. Yeah. So when they say, but when's the age of Aquarius? You're never gonna take it to a date. It's a gradual process of something out of the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. And the age of Aquarius is a completely different age. It is also very connected with technology. So, we're seeing that happen in terms of, AI and all of that. That's also part of Aquarius. How do we live in that? There's also other clues in charts where it's very clear. We've got the nodal point, which is our destiny point, which has moved into Taurus, which is very much about reconnecting with nature, reconnecting with the earth. And Venus, Taurus, is actually ruled by Venus. Venus is the planet of love. So that gives us another theme. How do we move forward? We move forward in love, not war, in love, in unity. So that's going to be our choice in this next year. Where we're going to position ourselves.
Which path we're going to choose.
Which path are we choosing?
Yeah,
and it is about choose. It is about choice.
Choice, yeah, it is.
It is about discerning. Yeah. It is about saying, I'm not going down that road. If you're listening to stuff which is freaking you out, stop listening to it. Maybe. Stay in a vibration of love. Connect. Do the things that you do every day that bring you joy. We spent today with John's grandchild. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
We didn't give any thought to
anything else.
The craziness
except being present, because children.
Because they bring you into presence.
Yeah, they are.
So what brings you into presence? Yeah. What is it that you you put your energy into, which actually brings you into that aligned place. Because I mean, we've said it for a long time leading up to this, but this is kind of, things are coming to a head now. And I believe, and I mean, I love your comments here, but I believe that we have been preparing for this.
We've been preparing this for probably hundreds of lifetimes, if not thousands of lifetimes. It's just interesting what you said, you know, what leads you into presence. And you mentioned nature. I think nature is one of the strongest things that can lead us into nature. And what takes us away from nature is technology. Now, there's nothing wrong. I see nothing wrong with technology, and we are moving more and more into a technological age. But the consciousness with which technology is controlled by, you know, technology is just technology. But if the consciousness which is creating the technology is mad, then the technology is going to amplify the madness. So one must be aware of this. And if you find a certain insanity in technology, don't buy into it. Don't give your energy to that technology. And the other thing about technology is that it does take us away from nature. And as such, then it robs us of presence. It robs us of the joy of living. You know, we get pseudo joy maybe in technology, but you get real joy by connecting to nature. And that's a very important theme at the moment, to connect with nature. If you're feeling a bit spun out, a bit anxious, connect with nature. Go and sit on a piece of grass, ground your feet, go and hug a tree, go and walk in nature if you can, go and look at the sky, look at the clouds for half an hour, and just be. And that will bring sanity and clarity and stillness back into your awareness. And you mentioned the word joy. Joy, as I think I've said before, is the kryptonite for evil. Evil has no armor against joy. The more joy we can feel inside us, the more that light completely obliterates the darkness that the evil thrives in. And if you think of, for example, the lockdown was about removing joy from our lives. And I think we can override that. We can find the joy irrespective of external circumstances. You know, watching the mainstream news is not a good idea, because when you watch the mainstream news, you get sucked into their narrative. And, you know, one of the things we've known about war is all war is perpetrated through the media. It gets people to buy in. Noam Chomsky talks about manufactured consent. You want to get people to walk in a certain direction, you manufacture a certain perception which everyone believes, and everyone goes in that direction. So joy, on the other hand, is the antidote to that, because the media does not spread joy. It spreads fear and anxiety and righteous anger. And the opposite of that is this feeling of joy. And the reason I'm mentioning that is because where we're sitting today, we're at the start of a new year. And as such, we have the power of intention to set a new trajectory for this year. Do we want this year to be based on that fear, on that false evidence appearing real? Or do we want to walk in that new way of love, of joy, of gratitude, and build something? And you mentioned earlier about the importance of community. That's really what it's about. The old world was based on central control. Someone else has the answer. You look outside of yourself for an answer. You go to the priest or the teacher or the government official for the answer, or the doctor for the answer. This new way, based on love, is when you start to trust this. You start to trust your own intuitive intelligence more than the authority outside of yourself. So you come back to self-governance. And that's really what it's about. And in fact, just to mention, you know, we are also in ourselves, we are walking in alignment of this new consciousness. And so we're also looking at moving into community in the next few months. If anyone's interested, they can contact us and we can give you the details of what we're looking at this stage. But we intend to move into a small, sustainable community away from the madness of the city. And I would suggest we all need to be doing that. Even, for example, even if we're living in a city, look to your community.
Absolutely. Buy
locally. Buy your fruit and vegetables from the little grocer, not from the big corporate. And buy your clothes. Get your... try and support the small shops in your community. Support local. That's a very important part of this transformation, is to come back to community. Community is the one that's going to get us through this.
And on that subject, start growing food.
Absolutely.
If you if you have even a tiny little patch of garden, grow something, there are going to be food shortages. There's going to be a massive petrol, diesel shortage, which is already happening all over the world. And there's going to be food shortages. That's not to scare anybody. That's to just say, okay, how do we prepare for it? It's not a bad thing to prepare for it. To actually stock up on some supplies. Not a bad thing to do. You know, I watched something a while ago where they said, if you were at war, how would you act? What would you do? How would you prepare? You know, maybe you'd fill up your car with petrol, maybe you'd have some food supplies, maybe you would just have a little bit sort of put aside for a case of war. So this is
and part of that is get your hands in the soil.
Get your hands in the soil.
You're connecting to nature. You're doing healing of your soul at the same time as growing your food. Learn how to grow food. Do a permaculture workshop or something like that. Get to know how to be more sustainable. I remember when the USSR collapsed in the early 90s, over 54% of their food was already being grown in people's gardens. So when the big corporates, although not the corporates, the big agricultural companies that were supplying the food collapsed, which they did with the end of communism, people didn't starve there because they were already growing 54% of their food in their gardens. And we're not talking about big gardens, we're talking about small little gardens.
You can do amazing things in a small garden.
And in that you find your soul healing by getting the family to get into the garden, to connect with the garden.
And even things like micronutrients, microgreens, you know, you need a little tray.
Yeah.
Sprouts, little, you know, ways of growing herbs in PVC pipes and boxes. There's always ways of doing it. So I just think that this is a way in which we need to be the change. We need to say, the world's changing. We don't know where it's going. So how can I really connect with Earth? So as opposed to just seeing Earth as something that we stand on and that supports us and that gives us whatever we need, Earth is a living, breathing organism. So if we connect with Mother Earth, whether it's just connecting with a tree or hands in the soil, as John said, or planting our own foods, even better. Because they say that when you plant your own foods and eat it, it's actually a lot better for you.
Yeah, because the bacteria from your body informs the bacteria in the soil, which informs the nutriments in the plant as to what your body needs in that moment. There's quite a bit of science behind that one. So it's very interesting. The best food is the food that you've grown yourself. But the most important part of this preparation for this transformation is here. It's the work we do on the inner, not the outer. Yes, prepare on the outer.
Absolutely.
But the most important thing is that we do this, for example, this centering, this acknowledging the sacredness of all life, not that life versus that life, but all life. All life is sacred. Every human being, every plant, every animal is just has just a validness of living here as much as we do, as much as anyone does. So as to honor the sacredness of all life and to love. Love is a sense of oneness, sense of connection. All division, all partisan view is a walking away from love. The moment you think that side is better than that side, for example, if you look at the media with its Black Lives Matter and now we've got this Russian situation, you know, that side's better than that. You're walking away from love. The moment you have that perception of separation, you're walking away from the perception of oneness. And the perception of oneness is love.
Stay in the middle.
Stay in the middle. Now that's a theme for the day we're in today. It's about balance.
It's balance. Stay in the middle. If you've got a seesaw, stay in the middle of the seesaw, in the middle of the scale. We were seesawing with Aurora earlier, you know. You need to sit in the middle, otherwise you went down or up, you know. To be balanced, you have to sit in the middle. So be in the middle. And the other thing is intention. If you look at intention, it's not just about what I want to achieve this next year. I believe that we've gone beyond that. It's yes, you've got your own intentions that you'd like to bring into fruition and your own career goals and your own personal physical goals and all of that. But the intention's actually more, how do I want to feel here? That is where we need to focus our focus and then live more from that place. So if you intend to feel peaceful, then that's what you've got to nurture. That's the intention. That's the seed that we're planting. If you want to feel joyful, then that's the seed that you plant. Every day, not once. Every day, all day. If it's peace we want, to bring yourself back into peace 100 times, 200 times, 300 times a day. When you start seeing yourself going into the one side or the other side, because it's perfectly natural to do that. We do that. That's what the mind does, doesn't it, John? It takes us backwards and forwards.
It's a judgmental tool.
Yeah.
So let me give you the 3 steps to manifestation if you'd like to manifest anything in your life. So that's in alignment with where we are astrologically at the moment, because it's a new year, so we can set new intentions for the year. So the first step in the law of manifestation is to identify what it is you really, really want. So what is it you really, really want? Take time to write it down and distill it to as small a situation as possible. Then the next step, the very important part of that, is to say, well, if I got that, if I had that, whatever that is, how would I feel? That's really important. So yeah, I want that, but how would it make me feel? And then you write that feeling down. And then you focus on that feeling. But step 3 is the crux of whether you are able to manifest it or not. And that is to let go of the need for the thingness to bring you the feeling. So step 3 is you let go of the need for situations, circumstances, events, or people to be anything other than what they are, and you focus exclusively on that feeling. So for example, peace. You focus exclusively on peace. And any time during the day when your mind wanders into this judgment or that judgment, you put your hands on the steering wheel and you bring your awareness back to what it is you really, really, really want. Because the third really is the feeling. The first and second really can be situations and circumstances and events or experiences. But the third really is how do you feel if that were manifest in your life. So it's important to let go and release the need for that situation or thingness to be in your awareness and just focus exclusively on the feeling. And that, in a nutshell, is the secret of manifestation. First of all, be very clear on what it is you want. Then you go into the feeling of what it would be like if you got that. And then you focus exclusively on that feeling, letting go of the need. And this is a really important part. Letting go of the desire for things to be anything other than they are in this present moment. And just feel the feeling given, even in these given circumstances that you have in this moment.
I love that. And I mean, it goes so closely with what I said about the Sun and Neptune together. So Sun in Aries, which is intention, new intentions. Neptune, surrender. That's what it is. Neptune in Pisces, 3 planets in Pisces. It's saying, have the intention. Yes, I'd like to manifest that. This is how it would make me feel. This is what I'm focusing on, and I'm letting go. I'm surrendering that desire for that to be the way that I want it to be. I'm surrendering that because I can't control that anyway. And then there's a sense of peace there as well. There's just I can surrender it. It doesn't have to happen. It doesn't have to happen. If it doesn't happen, I've already got the peace that I want, that I'm looking for.
Or the joy.
Or the joy, or the love, or whatever it is. The freedom. Freedom's a big word.
Big word.
You know? So focusing on freedom rather than the opposite.
Yeah.
How do you do that? And that's our job. I see this year.
At the moment, we have so much power. The power of creation lies in the feelings we feel. And the powers that be know that. That is why the media feeds us feelings of anxiety and anger and righteous whatever, that because they know that is going to divert our creative power. I mean, if we have a look at the incredible freedom rallies that were going on in Canada and then spread to America, and that was giving joy to people, absolute joy. And the next minute we have a war. Oh no, don't focus on the joy and the freedom rally, focus on war once again.
Because war's horrific and it takes our focus off it. It does.
So once again, our power to create a new world was perverted by the weak media to look in the direction that they want us to look in. Instead of looking at what it is we really, really, really want, which is joy and freedom and love and community and empathy and compassion. That's what we can feed with this incredible power of intention within us. And today is a very powerful day to start doing that, to come back to balance. In the map I have of the map of the matrix, you have the horizontal plane of time, of past, of future, and then you have the vertical plane which intersects that, in the same way that the light in the cinema intersects the film. The film is the horizontal plane of story, and the light is the light of awareness that intersects that. And the vertical plane is where you find your true power. That's where you find the power of intention, the power of your presence, the power of love. All happens in the vertical plane. And that is balance. The only time we're in balance is when we're in this vertical plane, in the present moment. If you're not present, you're not balanced. And it's the imbalance that creates karma, that creates the ripples in time and space. But balance comes back to peace. And the only place you can find that, the only place you can find peace is not in the future when circumstances are different, but in the present moment. That's where peace is to be found.
Absolutely. And I think just the other last thing is that there's a lot of darkness on our planet right now. You know, war always is dark. It's never a good thing, ever. When somebody kills somebody else and injures lots of people, war is just never good. And there's a lot of lightness as well. There's a lot of darkness and there's a lot of lightness. And so it's where we're focusing. Are we focusing on the lightness? Are we focusing on the amazing stuff that people are doing? On the light that's coming in? On the acceleration of human consciousness? Are we focusing on that? Or are we focusing on the chaos? So by focusing on the chaos, it's not helping. It's not helping.
When you focus on what's wrong with the world, you feed what's wrong with the world. Rather focus on what is right with the world. And there's a huge outpouring of empathy, compassion, and support for humanity at this time.
It's incredible. It's huge.
And it starts at home, by the way. You know, you're worried about the people in Ukraine or whatever. But what about the people in your community? Take some food and go and feed those hungry people that are living under a bridge or whatever near you. That's how you can start sorting or helping heal the world, by what you can do, not what you can't do, not focusing on what you can't do, but what can you do. Can you do a random act of kindness every single day? Just a random act, not expecting anything in return. Can you do that? Of course you can do that. That heals the world. That transforms the world. That takes your attention to what it is that you really want. You want empathy, compassion? Give it. You want care? Give it. You want love? Give it. Rather than focusing on what the media wants you to focus on, you use your own power of focus and intention to go in the direction you want to go in, rather than the world that you don't want to build.
And we have that choice in any moment. Are we going to be led by the nose, the way somebody wants to lead us, or are we going to actually just move in the direction that we want to move in? That's freedom. And they can't control you. Nobody can control you if you don't have fear. Fear is the way people are controlled. Yeah. You can't control someone who doesn't have fear.
No. And joy is the opposite of that. When you feel joy in your heart, you're not being controlled. You're actually connecting to life in this moment. And that's our power, to feel the joy. And you know, when you are going out and you're doing a bit of community work, then it's easier to feel joy than when you're sitting inside with your house locked and your curtains drawn watching television. You know, it's much easier to feel joy when you're part of community.
And joy's in the little things, you know. It's sitting having a meal with people that you love. It's picking a flower. It's the little things. That's what brings us back.
Yeah.
It's not the big things. Yeah. It's the little things. The seemingly insignificant things, which are not insignificant. Because we don't know if we're ever going to have that moment again. We'll never have that moment again. Whatever that moment was, it's gone. So focusing completely on that, it brings you into the present. Yeah. And then you are totally connected, totally able to respond when you need to respond, how you need to respond. If something happens, you're prepared for it. Because you're present.
Yeah.
If you're here, freaking out
in your head
about something that's happening in another country or wherever, you're not present.
Yeah, something you can't do anything about anyway.
There's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
You can send light into that country, absolutely.
And
Send love,
And love.
send light, send love. Focus your energy from your heart towards all the people in the world that are struggling and suffering, all over the country, all over the world.
And just on that line, I mean, does the media tell you to do that? Does the media encourage you to send light and love and empathy and compassion? No, it tells you to hate, to despise, to feel, bad. I mean, that's what it does. That's what it does. So that is very disempowering. When we go into meditation, we go into prayer, and we go into joy, that's our real power. And that is the power to transform the world. We're all connected through a field, an invisible field of energy. Yeah. And what we feed into that field affects the whole of humanity. And that's why it's important to identify the feeling that you really want to experience and feed that experience. And you'll find that experience tends to be not on the horizontal plane of acquisition, but on the vertical plane of presence, of love, of connection. That's where what you really, really, really want will always lie in the vertical plane. And if you feed that, you're part of the solution for this planet. Very important to do that. And this is a very auspicious time that we're going through at the moment. This equinox today about balance. We're setting new intentions for the year ahead, and we're starting to work with a more consciousness within us. That is not so much about the action, it's more about the feeling behind the action. It's more about the feelings that we feed on a moment-to-moment basis that the new world will be born of. We know, going back to Max Planck's work from the 1930s, that matter is well, he said matter doesn't exist, all that's real is mind. In other words, matter is solidified mind. So if you want to change something in the physical material world, change your mind. And mind is vibration, it's frequency, it's feeling, it's emotion, it's thoughts. That's what changes the world. And we have the power to do that. We do have the power to do that, moment to moment to moment, to feed the world we want with our thoughts and with our feelings.
And it all starts with awareness, because as soon as you become aware, oh, my mind's gone hearing off into the future, or it's gone a few thousand kilometers away, and my energy's drained out of my body, and now I've got a sore head, and my shoulders are up by my ears, and my whole body's gone into resistant mode. Oh, okay, breathe. Breathe. Bring yourself back.
Then take one conscious breath.
It's just the awareness to notice it without judging it. It's okay. Yes, I did go into a story. Okay, bring it back. And that's the practice. It's over and over and over and over. Surrender, surrender, surrender. Soften, soften, soften. Bring yourself back. Bring yourself back. As soon as you feel resistance, come home. Yeah.
And even if you have thoughts, judgmental thoughts or partisan thoughts or whatever, angry thoughts, and you say, well, I can't surrender because I just can't. Well, surrender to the fact that you can't surrender. Yeah. Give even that up. Stop resisting. Because what happens is, oh, I can't surrender. I'm trying to, but I can't. Then there's more resistance in us. Just accept in that moment that you can't surrender. But that acceptance that you can't surrender is surrender. And it's very paradoxical. It's so easy to surrender when you surrender to non-surrender. Try surrendering to your non-surrender, and you'll find, oh my goodness, there I am. I'm there. I'm at peace.
It's true.
It's amazingly powerful there.
And it does start with acceptance. Yeah. It starts with acceptance, saying this is the way it is. I accept that this is what's happening. And then you can soften into surrender from that.
Yeah.
Because it's when we're not accepting, that's when we're in resistance. And then we're going backwards and forwards, and we're going onto that outside of the wheel, and we're going onto the one side of the seesaw, and that's when everything goes upside down. So if you just say, I accept that this is happening. This is what's happening. And I breathe. And I surrender. So lots of different themes.
The important thing to remember, and this is really, really important, is that the old world, based on fear, wants to tell you that you don't have the power. But in fact, you do have the power. You do have the power to choose your attitude. You do have the power to choose your feelings. And you do have the power to choose your thoughts. And it's with those that we can build a new world. It's so, so, so powerful and so important to regain our power from the media, from our education, from those people that we think of as our leaders. We have to be the change in our heart. And that's really, really important. This new astrological year, we have the power to change the world with our thoughts, with our feelings, with our intentions, and rather to feed the world of love rather than the world of fear.
With our compassion as well, compassion, softness, gentleness, kindness. That's all this Pisces, these Pisces plans, that's what it is. Can I just be compassionate? Can I just be gentle with myself, first of all? And then that'll radiate out. Or am I going to judge? You wrong, I'm right, he's wrong, he's evil, he's right. No, it's just going to spin us out. Just a short checkout.
And if you enjoy what we have to share, or you find meaning and value in it, please press the like and the share button. It really does help get the information out there. Spread the light rather than spread the darkness, and we love getting your hearts as well. And we also have a monthly online platform called Inner Space. This is really all about cultivating spiritual intelligence, which is inner space. And our theme for the new month, you can just join for 1 month if you like. If you join for a whole year, you get 2 months free. But thank you for the hearts. Thank you. If you would like to be part of a greater community, because that's what the inner space is, then go to our website, journeysofawakening.com, and in the top bar you'll see Inner Space, and you can click on that. And our theme for April is?
Courage.
Courage. Takes a lot of courage to step into this new world. So that's the theme for the new world, for the new month. This month, by the way, we're doing surrender. Very powerful month, very powerful month. So
I'll just do a short checkout tonight. We run out of time. We've been jabbering on, you and I.
Have we been jabbering?
Yeah, we've been talking a lot.
Thank you for listening. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, let's just center ourselves again. Let's just take a beautiful deep breath in and a releasing breath out. Let it all go. Now take a deep belly breath in. As you breathe in, expand your belly out and bring the breath all the way up to the top of the chest. Hold it for a second and then let it all out. Let it all blow all the breath out. Make the out breath longer than the in breath. Just try that once more. Breathe in to the count of 4. Hold to the count of 1 and breathe out to the count of 6. And let's do that again. Breathe into the count of 4. Hold to the count of 1 and breathe out. Let it all out to the count of 6 or even 7. Blow all your breath out. Let's do this for the 3rd time. Breathing in for 4. Holding and then releasing the breath all the way out till you don't have any breath left. And knowing that as you do this breath, the parasympathetic nervous system starts to relax. You start to relax. You start to soften with each out breath. You start to open. You start to surrender. You bring yourself into presence with only a few breaths. It really is as simple as that. Just feel the peace of releasing, how it feels to just release resistance. If as you're sitting here you have some resistance, might be a physical resistance, might be a pain or tightness, breathe into the middle of that resistance and release it. It might be a mental resistance, your head might be very busy. Your mind might be shooting all over the place. Bring awareness to that. Breathe in. And just release it. Just in this moment. All the time softening. Surrendering. Noticing. Observing. Watching the thoughts and releasing them. Keeping on bringing yourself back into the vertical, into the moment, right now. Where there's nothing to do, nothing to solve, nothing to save. Just this breath, just this moment. And from this place of presence, feel what it feels like in your body, in your soul, in your being. Feel what this feels like. Plant that as a seed, this feeling. Plant that as an intention. And allow that intention to ripple out into the field. All on its own. You don't have to do anything. Just by feeling a feeling in your heart. Your heart has an incredibly powerful magnetic field. It does it all on its own. Sending out this feeling into all that is. Now taking a deep breath in and out. And staying in this place of peace, if you're there, open your eyes when you're ready.
Thank you. That was lovely. Are you in a state of peace and ease and joy? Feed that. Feed that. So now we have an affirmation card. Let's just see what the universe gives us for this coming week.
That's a good one. I am love.
I am love. How beautiful is that? I am love. So simple. So simple. Let that be the mantra to take you through this new week. And that's a beautiful seed to plant for the new year. I am love.
So simple.
So simple. So beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you for being with us tonight. Thank you. And God bless. And we'll see you, those of you on our other course, we'll see you during the week. But otherwise, we will see you on next Sunday for Sunday Night Satsang.
Thank
everyone.
You. Lots of love.
Enjoy your long weekend for those in South Africa.
It's a long weekend.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone.
Okay, lots of love.